Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Shemo Polot. It has been a while. I've been going through a lot of changes in my life, professionally and personally. And so I took a break from YouTubing because it wasn't possible to do it at the time. But we're back, and so now, every week, I hope. This week I want to talk to you guys about a feature that's relatively new in Excel called dynamic arrays. Dynamic arrays are actually a game changer in Excel. Things that used to take ridiculous, massive formulas now just take one formula in one cell and they spill over to multiple cells and they reveal so much information. Sounds like gibberish, but let me show you how it's done. Alright? So, there are about 6 major dynamic arrays that exist in Excel, which are these right here. Unique, filter, sort, sequence, rand array, and sort by. Today I'm going to focus on these 3 mainly, which is the unique function, the filter function, and the sort function. The rest I'll kind of just allude to what they do, but they're really basic. Unique, filter, and sort are the big game changers, and I'm going to use this example to illustrate why. So we'll begin by talking about using unique. So what we have right here is a data set that shows staff in a company, okay? And let's see how many staff we have. So I'm just going to go control down to see. We have about, starting from 5 to 104. That means we have about 100 staff members in here. And so it's staff members, their gender, their department, the age, the date they joined, their salaries, their rating, and the manager that they report to, okay? So how are these dynamic array functions really useful, okay? If you want to know certain information about your staff from this table, in the past, if I asked you, for example, I want to know which staff members report to the manager called Collins, okay? What you would have to do is build a complex formula using a bunch of ifs and row numbers and things like that to be able to get all the staff members that report to Collins. But now, first of all, let's start with the unique function. The unique function, what it does is it gives you all the unique values within a given range. For starters, if we want to know how many managers are there, okay? So what we do, and let me just increase this, zoom in a little bit. And so we just type unique, okay? And then we select this array here, press enter. And you see what happens is that you type the formula in one box and it spills over to the rest of the cells. Beautiful feature with dynamic arrays, okay? But this is able to tell you how many unique managers we have, okay? It's the same as you can use the unique function to remove duplicates from any range or list, okay? And it's better than removing duplicates in the specific position because this way you can put the non-duplicates or the unique values in a separate cell like we're doing here, okay? So that's the first case scenario of how to use unique. So we're really done with unique. So then, so the question I asked was, how do we know which staff members report to Collins, okay? So we can use a filter function. That's what we can use filter for, okay? So we come here, we type equals filter, okay? And it takes the array, which is our table of interest, which is this table right here. And I named that table staff. So we just type staff, and then the next thing it takes is include, which is Excel is asking you, what do you want me to include in this filter? What do you want me to filter? Okay, and in this case, I want to filter that column which has the managers. Okay, so I just bring my cursor and hover it above the column for manager until the arrow turns black. Click there, and it selects all of them, as you can see. Okay, and it also brings this notation here, which is staff square brackets manager. Then I say when the staff manager is equal to Collins. Okay, we close that bracket, press enter, and you see what happens instantly. It spills all the different staff that report to Collins, and you can see that from here. Okay, so now really quickly what I want to do is I want to show you how you can use the filter function with a drop-down menu. So if we want to keep checking who they report to, whether it's Collins or whether it's Hancock or Cohen or any of these managers, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to create a drop-down list. So in this formula, instead of having Collins here, we want to make it dynamic such that it will vary based on whatever name appears in this drop-down list, okay? So for now, I am going to go back up in here. I set this up already, but I want to go back in here and just remove this validation so I can show you how we create this instantly. Okay, so I want to put a drop-down menu that shows the unique managers. This is going to be really cool because there's an interesting feature here that I'm introducing now, but I'm not going to talk a lot about it. Just want to show you how it works. Okay, so to create a drop-down menu, we go to data, then we go to data validation. Okay, then we click list. Okay, then in the source, what we want is we want this, okay, columns, and now we want it to show us all these managers. Okay, but because this is a dynamic array, if for example we add more rows to our main data set and we add a new manager, because our main data set is in a special Excel table, these unique values will update automatically. And so we can't select this range like this because the range could change, for example, and also because this is dynamic. So what we do instead is we use this hash sign, and what that hash sign tells Excel is enter every value from cell M6 and capture anything downwards. The output that the dynamic array spills out, okay, capture everything that it spills out. Okay, so let me press OK, and then now you see here in our drop down we have all these 4 managers. And let's just do an example really quickly to show you what I meant. Okay, so right now the unique value, the unique function in here captures all the unique managers that we have. And so if I add another manager in this data set down here, if I add John, for example, John becomes part of the table automatically, as you see there. And as you can see, the unique value captures John there. And at the same time, because of the hash sign that we added to our data validation, John is there as well. You see? So that is what I wanted to show you. Okay, so now we're going to edit this filter formula that we created. And instead of putting a specific name in there, what we are going to do is we're going to just refer to that box instead. And we use Fn and F4 to lock that cell, and we press enter. Right now it's saying calc because there's no value selected in here, but once I select a manager, let me select Olsen, and you see it automatically spills all of them out. Okay, you see that? So that's how the filter function works. Okay, and again, a lot more dynamic than this, but I'm just showing you just very basic so you know how it works. Okay, so next I want to talk to you about sort. Now sorting is just a way for you to sort whatever selection you have. Okay, so and you can sort in either ascending order or descending order. Okay, so for example, in this particular case, what we could do is we could wrap this filter function in a sort. Now if you look at the sort function and you see the arguments that it takes an array, and in this case our array is this product of this filter function right here. Okay, and then it takes a sort index, which is just asking you what specific column do you want to sort by, and then the sort order, which is do you want to sort in ascending order or descending order. Okay, so here what we can do is put a comma, so now it's bolder here, so now we're in sort index. And so the sort index is, so what if I wanted to sort these values that have been spat out by their salary? For example, the salary is this column right here, which is column 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so that is the sort index. So we say 6 comma, and then ascending or descending, I want it to appear in, I want the salaries to appear in descending order. So descending is -1, so I do -1, and then we could do by column, but that isn't relevant in this case. So then I just close that and press enter. And as you can see now, we've altered the filter function a bit because we've added a sort. And as you can see here, the salaries are sorted in descending order, starting from the biggest to the smallest. So that's how we use sort, and that's how sort can be used. Those 3 main dynamic array functions that I've mentioned are the main ones that you really have to use, and they're really valuable if you want to take a quick snapshot at a bunch of your data based on certain specific criteria that you may have. take a look at them and try and see if you can kind of figure out how they work. Let me talk about these other ones really quickly. So sequence is useful for creating any random set of numbers. For example, sequence, if you want to create a random data set with, say, so it takes rows, columns, start, and step. Rows meaning how many rows do you want the data to have? If we say 10, and then if you say columns, how many columns do you want it to have? Let's say 1. And then say if you wanted to create a list of 100 digits starting from 10, skipping every 2 figures. So we do 2, and then we press enter. And so you see it creates this dynamic array from 10 to 28, like that. So that's how sequence works, okay? Rand array is sort of similar to sequence, but it's really just also used to try and get a random array of numbers, which will keep updating. Every time you open the sheet, the numbers will change. That could be useful for a bunch of reasons, but won't talk about that today. Then sort by really quickly is useful if you want to sort the data in the table by specific columns. Now let's use an example. So for example, if you want to sort the staff members by department and then by their salary, okay, something like that. So we would use sort by. So let me just come down here, and so we do sort by. Okay, so the array is our table called staff. Okay, so then what it asks, the next argument is by array 1, meaning what is the first array you want to sort by. And in this case, what we want to sort by is department, and then what sort order, and I'm going to do ascending, so 1. And then what's the second array you want to sort by? So we said salary, so I'll do staff and then do that and then go to salary. And then sort order, for this one I want the salaries to be in descending order, so that's -1. And I close that and I press enter, and it spits these out. You see, it spits this out immediately. So now, and we can take a look at this so we know what we're dealing with. Okay, so as you can see, we have it's sorted first of all by department, and this is in alphabetical order. As you can see, finance, then HR, then procurement, then sales, then website, and so on and so forth. And then in each department, finance, you can see here their salaries are sorted in descending order. Okay, and then we go to HR, and again you see here for HR their salaries are in descending order. The same is true for procurement and website. So dynamic arrays, really useful to help you. Now before we go, if I'm talking about dynamic arrays, it's important that I mention spill errors. Every now and then while you're working with dynamic arrays, you'll get spill errors. And when do you get spill errors? Because of the way dynamic arrays work and the fact that they spill over, you type your formula in one cell like we did up here. If you notice, if you click other cells, it's sort of blanked out. These cells are basically empty, right? So if you click inside any other cell, you're unable to change the formula. The formula is grayed out. As you can see, the formula exists only in the top cell in that corner, okay? But now, when I was trying to create the sort by function to show you how it worked, I had to scroll downwards below here so that I could find an empty space. If you go into an area and you type a formula and the array that spills out doesn't have enough space to show you all the data, that's how you get a spill error. Excel is essentially telling you, I don't have enough space for what you're trying to do. And let me give you an example. Let me copy this formula from here and let me try to put it right here. You see what happens? I get a spill error, okay? And Excel shows me a blue dotted line box sort of showing me where the data is trying to go, but it can't go there because there's a bunch of data in that space. Let me just delete that. So watch out for spill errors while you're dealing with dynamic arrays. Otherwise, really useful. Dynamic arrays, absolute game changer in Excel. I'm sure that by just showing you what I've shown you right now, you're thinking of all the applications that are possible. Let me know if you want me to talk more about these. They're a bit complicated and maybe rush through it a bit, but I'm happy to go over specific functions in detail. I could do filter in more detail, and I could do sort in more detail or unique. It's really up to you. So just let me know in the comments what you want to learn. But really quickly before I go, for my blog this week, I actually wanted to do a very practical example of how I would use the unique function coupled with some sort of COUNTIF. So I'm hosting a movie night on Friday, okay? And so I texted my friends and I wanted them to tell me what snacks they wanted. I obviously restricted the list of snacks. I sent them a Google form, and the only options were pizza, cheddar. If you know me, I love cheddar. If you don't know what cheddar is, get on it. So the only options were pizza, cheddar, popcorn, groundnut, and groundnuts, okay? So I sent them a survey and they filled it out, and this is what everyone said that they wanted, okay? And this is me down there saying cheddar, of course. Okay, so now the first thing that I want to create a list that shows me the snacks and the exact number of snacks I need to buy specifically, okay? So first I need to get the unique snacks that are available. To do that, I use unique, and then I go to the snacks column, do that, press enter, and it creates for me this dynamic array of the unique snacks that we have. And then to get the count, what I use is what we call a COUNTIFS formula. Okay, the COUNTIFS formula takes a criteria range and the criteria. It could take as many criteria as possible. It really depends on what your case is. But in this case, the criteria range is the snacks column over there. We want to count the snacks from that column, okay? So that's the criteria range. And then what's the criteria? The criteria is whatever is in this cell. So in this particular case, I want to count how many pizzas do I have, okay? So that's it, and I close and I press enter. And then I just copy this formula downwards, and there we have it. So now I know that I need to order 3 pizzas, 2 packs of cheddar, 4 things of popcorn, and 1 pack of groundnuts. And that's how that works. All right, otherwise, see you next week. Dynamic arrays, really useful. Let me know of any applications that you could use them for. Otherwise, good to be back. Thank you, and remember to like and subscribe, and see you next week.